Namaskar and hello out there. Abhidevananda here, still hovering over the Ocean of Bliss. Yes, it's the same place. Rather hard to move on when the view is so fine. And yes, it's the Ocean of Bliss, not the Atlantic, not the Pacific, the Ocean of Bliss. And the weather is great. Not too hot, not too cold. Just right, in my opinion. Today, let me say a few words about the geopolitics in our Indian Anandamarga. And though I will mostly talk about what is happening on the Hindi side, the same sort of nonsense is also happening on the Bengali side. So let's start by having a look at Rudrananda's so-called Anandavanis. And let's be clear about this. What Rudrananda's bogus Hindi office is distributing, that's not at all an Anandavani. It was not given by Baba for the express purpose of a standalone message on any New Year's Day, or on the occasion of Baba's birthday. It does not contain the neo-humanistic magic of any actual Anandavani, any Anandavani actually given by Baba. It is simply a political ploy in Rudrananda's evil plan to convert the mission of Baba, our Anandamarga, into a Hindi-dominated Hindu religious sect. It is a total fraud, and it is a sin of the highest order. So let's look deeper into this matter. First, what is the purpose of this pernicious program? One obvious purpose is to emasculate the Paroda Pramukh. At those times when we might expect even a halfway decent Paroda Pramukh. We might expect him to give some sort of guidance to the Margis. Instead, he merely sits on a dais like a wooden idol. The Paroda Pramukh has no other role to play during this ridiculous ceremony. He is given no scope to offer any timely guidance. He is just a pampered showpiece that sits mutely by while others read out something from some old Hindi discourse by Baba. Now, some of you might wonder, just how are these extracts chosen? Well, the process is not complicated, and it certainly does not involve any great amount of work or even consideration. No one on the Hindi side really seems to care what the words actually say, much less why Baba was saying them. They simply have to sound a bit inspiring, so typically some Hindi bigwig takes probably no more than 5 minutes to examine the closing words of some discourse in Subhasida Sangraha or Ananda Vachanamritam. That Hindi worker may never have read the entire discourse and might not even read it now. What did you say? There must be some criterion on which the selection is made? Well, yes, there is one. And just one. The words must come from some, usually old, discourse given in a predominantly Hindi-speaking part of India. In other words, it must come from a Hindi language source. Nothing else will serve Rudrananda's wicked design. What's that? Another question. Oh, you want to know how such a crime could be kept secret for so long? Well, the answer is that there is no secret here. every single Hindi worker surely knows what is going on. And surely many, if not most, of the Hindi general margis know it too. But as with any dogma, those who are in the know, those who are most aware of it, tend to remain silent because they gain some selfish benefit or privilege from it, from the dogma. But make no mistake about this. The fraudulent nature of these so-called vanis, it's no secret. It is no more a secret than the nose on someone's face. Let's say that someone has a humongous schnoz. Red, bulbous, pimply, and maybe there's even some dirt in that beak's gigantic pores. Most people may prefer not to comment on it. They might not even want to look at it. But one thing is certain. That huge snout is no secret. It is just unspoken. And this is not the end of the bogus Anandavani tale. In pursuit of his destructive agenda for the politico-economic and psycho-economic exploitation of Anandamargis, Rudrananda wants everyone to believe that the Hindis are Baba's chosen people. So the whole tradition of Baba's Anandavanis has been distorted, not just to favor the Hindi language, but also the preferred Hindi script, Devanagari. Toward this end, Sanskrit has been accorded pride of place in these confidential messages, as if Baba had given those messages in some ancient language instead of the vernacular, which he never did. And of course, the Sanskrit version of the message is not just given in Roman script, but also in Devanagari, but not the Bangla or Harsha. And then either before or after English, we see the Hindi language come next. And again, the Hindi is written in the Devanagari script. Only after all that silent but not so subtle Hindi propaganda does the more official Bengali version appear. So clearly the main purpose of distributing these fake vanis and giving them a false air of holiness is only to promote Hindi imperialism. Hindi imperialism and the ruin of Baba's universal mission. Some people wonder why Baba, after coming out of prison, sent Rudrananda into exile. Was he really a traitor? The answer to that is, yes, he certainly was. But we don't need to look so far into the past to understand that. What Rudrananda has been doing for the last 30 years, ever since Baba's physical departure, is ample proof of his treachery. But anyway, our topic is geopolitics, so let me come back to the subject of the biannual Hindi DMS program at Anandanagar. Another thing of note is the way in which Prabhat Sangeet is performed. It does not matter whether the singer is a native Bengali or a native Hindi, or a native Nigerian for that matter. As Baba clearly promoted the Bengali language, though, we may naturally assume and accept that Bengali, perhaps as the next global lingua franca, will be spoken with many different accents. But while singing Baba's songs, the original language should be respected. So when the song is in Bengali, as indeed the vast majority of the songs, perhaps 99% of them are, then the Bengali words should be sung more or less correctly, not utterly mangled in a Hindi fashion. After all, at a DMS the audience is global, so a good example must be set. And when the English translation of a song is read out, the person reading that English translation does not have to be from a predominantly English-speaking country. Even a Hindi Dada or Didi could do it. But that Hindi must have more than just a passing appreciation of the English language and English literature. He must have more than just a talent for petty distortion and plagiarism of someone else's work. Okay, leaving the DMS now and looking forward. It is a new year, 2024. And some Margis may have been searching for the calendar of Ananda Marga festivals for this year. So let me mention one other devious geopolitical ploy of the Hindis. Anyone who has seen a copy of Ananda Marga Charya Charya Part 1 will know that an appendix was added as Chapter 45. This specifies the observance of an annual event from October 21 to October 26. And that event was listed in the Ananda Marga diary for nearly 20 years thereafter. But after the Hindis fled Kolkata in the middle of the night, tail between their legs, and then shifted their headquarters from Tiljala to Ranchi, since then they have quietly eliminated that Ananda Marga event from their calendar. An event for which an entire chapter of Charya Charya has been dedicated. Why did they do that? They know that on this occasion, the Margis are likely to visit Tiljala, not Ranchi, and not Jamalpur, Rudrananda's pet Hindi Tirtha. In other words, Rudrananda and his Hindi extremist cronies have pursued another filthy political objective. In this case, to undermine Charya Charya. Indeed, 1 year not so long ago, they even scheduled a competing event for that same time slot. Watching all of this childish behavior, watching the way in which the Hindis disrespect our scripture, both spiritual and social, and the way in which the Hindis and the Bengalis, those workers have been going around our precious Ananda Nagar, urinating like cats trying to demarcate territory that they don't even own. Territory that doesn't even belong to them. And so I can only wonder, when will the Margis of the world, and perhaps especially the Margis of India, when will they wake up and put an end to all these patently divisive and self-serving geopolitical practices? When will the Ananda Margis become genuine proudists and neo-humanists? Namaskar and Happy New Year.